In a grand chamber, deep in the heart of the Galactic Council, leaders from various alien worlds gathered. Their faces showed worry and the atmosphere felt tense. They had just received alarming news about a new threat that came from another dimension. Reports said that strange beings had started attacking planets, leaving destruction in their wake. A tall, green-skinned alien with 4 eyes stood up. "We cannot ignore this!" "These beings are unlike anything we have faced before," he declared. His voice echoed in the chamber. "They can move through the fabric of reality. One moment they are here and the next they are gone. They strike without warning." Another council member, a small blue creature with a long tail, added, "We've lost contact with several colonies. The fear is spreading. If we don't act quickly, we might lose everything." The leaders exchanged worried glances. They had faced many enemies before, but this one was different. The idea of a threat from another dimension sent chills down their spines. They began to argue about what to do next. Some believed they should gather their armies and fight. Others suggested retreating to safer places. As the debate continued, a wise elder spoke up. "We need help. Alone, we are not strong enough to fight this unseen enemy." The room fell silent as everyone considered this. They all knew it was true. "Who can we ask for help?" A voice questioned from the back. "We have made enemies of many races. Who would come to our aid?" The elder thought for a moment. "There is one race we have called on before, the humans of Earth. They have shown great courage and skill in battle. They might be our best hope." The council members whispered among themselves. Memories of past encounters with humans flooded their minds. Humans were strange and unpredictable, but they were also fearless fighters. Finally, a leader with shimmering scales nodded in agreement. "We must send a message to Earth. We need their strength now more than ever." With a sense of urgency, the council quickly prepared a communication device. They crafted a message that explained the danger they faced and the urgent need for human assistance. "We must make our plea clear," the elder insisted. "We must show them that this is a fight for survival." As the message was sent across the stars, the council felt a mix of hope and fear. Would the humans respond? Would they come to help? Or would they turn their backs on them? Back on Earth, the message arrived at the United Nations. Leaders gathered around the holographic display, their expressions a mix of confusion and skepticism. "Why should we help them?" one leader asked. "We've had our own struggles. The Galactic Council has not always treated us fairly." Another leader, a respected general, raised his hand to speak. "But this is different. If we ignore this threat, it could come to us next. We need to be ready. If they truly need our help, we cannot let fear guide our decisions." The debate raged on, but the general's words began to resonate with many. He spoke of humanity's courage, of battles fought and won against overwhelming odds. "We have faced our own enemies," he said passionately, "and we have always emerged stronger. If we stand together with the Galactic Council, we can show them what humans are capable of." The room quieted as the leaders considered this. Slowly, they began to nod. "We cannot allow this threat to grow unchecked. If the Galactic Council is in danger, we must offer our support." The general smiled, knowing they were making the right choice. "Let us prepare our forces and respond to their call for help. Together, we will face this unseen danger." Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Galactic Council awaited a response. Hope flickered in their hearts. They knew the road ahead would be challenging, but with the humans by their side, they felt a spark of courage. The unseen danger loomed, but united, they believed they could face anything. Days passed, and tension hung in the air of the Galactic Council. The leaders anxiously awaited a response from Earth. Every moment felt like an eternity. News from the front lines of the extra-dimensional threat kept coming in. The reports were grim. Entire worlds were falling to these strange beings. The council members looked at each other with worry in their eyes, fearing they would lose everything. In the heart of the council chamber, the elder who first suggested contacting humans stood up again. His voice trembled as he addressed the room. "We need to prepare for the worst. If we do not receive a response soon, we may need to make plans to evacuate our key worlds." A young leader, eager and impatient, slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot give up hope. Humans are known for their strength and bravery." "They will come! They must!" Suddenly, a bright light flashed in the chamber, interrupting the heated debate. A holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a tall human figure dressed in military uniform, flanked by several other officers. The council members gasped in surprise. This was General Harris, the leader who had championed the human response to their call for help. "Greetings, Galactic Council," General Harris said, his voice steady and confident. "We have received your message. I speak for the people of Earth. We understand the danger you face, and we are here to help." A wave of relief washed over the council. The elder spoke first, his voice full of gratitude. "Thank you, General Harris. Your arrival brings us hope. We fear for our worlds, and we are grateful for your support." General Harris nodded, his expression serious. "We understand the urgency of the situation. We are ready to assist in any way possible. However, we need to know more about these extra-dimensional beings. What do we face?" An alien scientist, his skin shimmering like a rainbow, stepped forward to share his research. "These beings have the ability to travel between dimensions. They can appear and disappear at will, making them incredibly hard to track and defeat. They feed on fear and chaos, growing stronger with each attack." The general listened carefully, absorbing the information. "We will need to develop strategies to counter their abilities. We can't rely solely on strength, we must be smart and adaptable." The council members exchanged glances, impressed by the general's quick thinking. "We can share our technology with you," said the green-skinned leader. "Together, we can create new weapons and defenses that blend human creativity with our advanced science." As discussions continued, the council and the humans began to forge a plan. They shared ideas, drawing diagrams on holographic screens, creating simulations of possible encounters with the extra-dimensional beings. Excitement filled the air as they collaborated, each race contributing their unique strengths. In the following days, the humans began training with the Council's soldiers. They learned to adapt their combat techniques to work alongside alien technology. The training sessions were intense but rewarding. Human soldiers impressed their alien counterparts with their determination and resilience. As the humans and aliens trained, friendships blossomed. The soldiers shared stories of their homes, their cultures, and their battles. Laughter echoed in the training grounds, breaking the tension that had built up over the past weeks. They started to see each other not just as allies, but as friends, united by a common goal. Meanwhile, the council leaders felt a shift in their outlook. They had been fearful and divided, but now they saw a glimmer of hope. The humans brought a fresh perspective, reminding them of the strength that comes from unity. As preparations continued, news from the front lines grew darker. Reports indicated that the extra-dimensional beings were getting bolder, launching attacks on multiple planets simultaneously. The urgency of their situation became more apparent. They had to act quickly, or they risked losing everything. One evening, as they gathered for a final briefing, General Harris looked around the room, his eyes shining with determination. "We have trained hard and we are ready. Together we will face this threat head-on. We will not let fear control us. We will fight for each other, for our worlds, and for our future." A loud cheer erupted from the council members and the human soldiers alike. They were no longer just allies. They were a united force, ready to confront the unseen danger together. The call for help had been answered, and now they would stand together against the threat that loomed over them. The sun rose over the Galactic Council's training grounds, casting a golden light on the eager faces of soldiers from different worlds. Humans and aliens stood side by side, ready to learn from one another. Today marked the beginning of an important chapter in their fight against the extra-dimensional threat. General Harris gathered everyone in a large arena. The humans wore their military uniforms, while the aliens donned their unique battle gear, each one reflecting their culture and technology. The air buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Today, General Harris announced, "We will blend our skills and learn from each other. Together we will become a stronger force." First, a group of alien warriors stepped forward, showcasing their advanced combat techniques. They moved gracefully, their bodies fluid as they demonstrated how to wield energy weapons. The humans watched closely, impressed by the aliens' agility and coordination. After the demonstration, the aliens invited the humans to try. At first, the humans struggled. The weapons felt strange in their hands, and the movements were different from what they were used to. But with practice and encouragement, they quickly adapted. They discovered that combining their strength with the alien speed created a powerful fighting style. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and shouts of encouragement as they improved together. Next, it was the humans' turn to teach their methods. They gathered the aliens and showed them their own combat techniques. The humans demonstrated hand-to-hand fighting, focusing on quick strikes and clever tactics. The aliens were amazed by the humans' raw strength and creativity in battle. They were not used to such direct approaches, preferring to rely on strategy and technology. As the days went by, the training became more intense. The humans and aliens worked on teamwork exercises, learning to anticipate each other's moves. They practiced drills where they had to fight together against imaginary enemies, combining their strengths and skills. The bond between them grew stronger with each session. In one memorable training exercise, they faced a mock attack by their own forces. The humans and aliens split into teams, each assigned to defend a specific area. The alarm rang and the attack began. Both sides quickly fell into their roles, shouting commands and coordinating their efforts. It was chaotic, but they worked together seamlessly, demonstrating how far they had come. By the end of the exercise, they were tired but exhilarated, high-fiving and celebrating their teamwork. As the training continued, they also focused on understanding their enemy. The alien scientists shared detailed information about the extra-dimensional beings. They had researched their behavior, strengths, and weaknesses. Together, they studied maps of the attacked planets and analyzed previous battles. Humans offered their insights, suggesting tactics based on their own experiences with other enemies. One afternoon, while taking a break, a human soldier named Sarah sat with an alien warrior named Jorak. They shared stories of their homes. Sarah spoke of Earth's beautiful landscapes and rich history, while Jorak described his planet, filled with vibrant colors and unique creatures. Their laughter echoed in the air, a reminder of the bond they were building. As time went on, the soldiers began to trust each other completely. They knew they had each other's backs, and that confidence made them stronger. General Harris noticed the change. "Look at you all," he said one day. "You're not just a group of humans and aliens anymore. You are a united force, ready to fight for one another." Finally, the day of their first joint mission arrived. General Harris gathered everyone one last time. "We are going to face the extra-dimensional beings together. We will show them the strength of our alliance. Remember what you have learned and trust in one another." As they prepared to leave, the soldiers exchanged nods of understanding and determination. They were ready for whatever came next. Together, they would face the unseen danger head-on. With their newfound skills and the bonds they had formed, they were ready to fight as one. The Galactic Council and the humans were not just allies, they were a family now, united against a common threat. The day of the first battle had finally arrived. Tension filled the air as the combined forces of humans and the Galactic Council prepared to face the extra-dimensional beings. The battlefield was a desolate planet, scarred by previous attacks. Dark clouds loomed overhead, and a chill ran through the troops as they assembled. General Harris stood before the united army, his voice calm but firm. "Today, we fight for our worlds, for each other, and for our future. Remember everything you've learned in training. Trust your comrades beside you. Together we can defeat this enemy!" The soldiers cheered, their spirits lifted by his words. They were ready, adrenaline pumping through their veins. As they moved out, the humans and aliens formed tight groups, keeping close to one another. They knew they needed to work as one. As they approached the enemy's territory, the ground trembled beneath them. Suddenly, the sky darkened and a rip in reality appeared. From this rift, the extra-dimensional beings began to emerge. They were terrifying, shifting forms of darkness and chaos, their eyes glowing with malevolence. The soldiers' hearts raced as they prepared for the worst. "Hold your ground!" General Harris shouted, trying to maintain calm amidst the rising fear. The soldiers readied their weapons, hands shaking slightly, but determination shone in their eyes. The first wave of extra-dimensional beings charged forward, moving with unnatural speed. They shrieked, their voices a chilling sound that echoed across the battlefield. The alien soldiers reacted quickly, using their energy weapons to fire at the approaching threat. Bright beams of light shot through the air, illuminating the dark landscape. The humans joined in, their rifles blazing. They shouted commands, coordinating their fire with the aliens. The ground shook as blasts collided, sending shockwaves through the air. But the enemy was relentless. They darted through the attacks, slipping in and out of reality, making them difficult targets. One brave alien warrior, Jorak, fought beside Sarah, the human soldier who had become his friend. "Stay close to me," he shouted as they took cover behind a rock formation. Sarah nodded, her heart racing. They exchanged glances, knowing they needed to protect each other. Suddenly, an extra-dimensional being lunged at them, its claws reaching out with terrifying speed. Sarah reacted instinctively, firing her weapon. The blast struck true, but the creature only stumbled momentarily before regrouping and coming at them again. Jorak raised his weapon, and together they fought fiercely, their movements synchronized from their training. Despite their efforts, the enemy seemed to multiply. More beings poured from the rift, overwhelming the defenders. The Allied forces were pushed back, and panic began to rise. General Harris, witnessing the chaos, knew they needed a new plan. "We must regroup," he yelled, trying to rally the soldiers. "Fall back to the ridge!" As the troops retreated, they set up a defensive line, using the terrain to their advantage. The aliens used their technology to create barriers of energy, shielding the humans and themselves from the relentless assault. For a moment, the fighting paused, and the soldiers caught their breath. General Harris gathered his officers, his expression serious. "We can't keep fighting like this. They're using fear against us. We need to turn their strength into weakness." A young alien strategist suggested, "We can use the terrain to set traps. If we can funnel them into a tight area, we can hit them with everything we have." The general nodded, seeing the wisdom in the plan. "Let's do it. We'll create a choke point and catch them off guard." As they prepared the traps, the soldiers worked with a newfound sense of purpose. They set explosives and energy shields in strategic locations, hoping to catch the enemy off balance. The soldiers exchanged glances, determination shining in their eyes. When the rift opened again, they were ready. The creatures charged forward, eager for chaos. But as they rushed into the trap, the energy shields activated and the explosives detonated. The ground shook, and bright flashes lit up the battlefield. The alien soldiers cheered as they saw their plan work, and the tide began to turn. With the enemy momentarily stunned, the combined forces charged forward, fighting with renewed vigor. The fear that had gripped them earlier transformed into fierce determination. Side by side, humans and aliens pushed the extra-dimensional beings back, their spirits high. As the battle raged on, General Harris felt a surge of hope. They were fighting together, overcoming their differences. They were not just allies, they were a united force, and together they would stand against any threat. The battle was far from over, but they had taken the first steps toward victory. The battle continued to rage as the Allied forces pushed back against the extra-dimensional beings. The air crackled with energy, and the sounds of combat filled the once quiet planet. General Harris and the leaders of the Galactic Council rallied their soldiers, urging them to press on. Every soldier fought fiercely, fueled by the bonds they had formed during their training. With each passing moment, it became clear that they were winning. The energy traps they had set worked perfectly, funneling the enemy into tight spaces where their numbers no longer counted. Explosions lit up the battlefield, creating openings for the soldiers to charge. The air was filled with cheers as the Allied forces advanced, their spirits rising with each victory. As they pushed forward, Sarah and Jorak fought side by side, their movements synchronized as if they had trained together for years. They had become a formidable team. Together, they took down several extra-dimensional beings, relying on each other's strengths. When Sarah needed to reload, Jorak covered her with precision, and when Jorak found himself in a tight spot, Sarah was right there to back him up. "Look out!" Jorak shouted as an enemy lunged at them. Sarah instinctively ducked, rolling to the side and firing her weapon. The shot hit the creature, sending it stumbling back. "Nice shot," Jorak called, grinning. They pushed deeper into the fray, their camaraderie growing stronger with each moment. The fear they had felt at the beginning of the battle had transformed into confidence. They fought not just for their own survival, but for each other and the hope of a united future. As the battle continued, General Harris spotted a massive extra-dimensional being in the distance. This creature was larger than the others, towering over the battlefield and radiating power. It seemed to be the source of the enemy's strength, feeding off the chaos. Harris knew that defeating this creature would be crucial to ending the fight once and for all. "Everyone, focus your fire on that creature!" he shouted, his voice carrying over the din of battle. "Together we can take it down." With renewed determination, the Allied forces turned their attention to the giant being. Soldiers of every race began to coordinate their attacks, forming a wall of energy blasts and projectiles that surged toward the massive creature. It shrieked in rage as it stumbled under the onslaught, the sound echoing like thunder. The creature charged forward, but Sarah and Jorak were ready. They took up a position at the front, determined to lead the charge. "On my mark!" Harris yelled, and with a deep breath he shouted, "Now!" The united forces unleashed their weapons, and the sky lit up with colors as energy beams struck the creature. The combined might of humans and aliens surged forth like a tidal wave, and the impact was overwhelming. The creature let out a deafening roar, and for a moment it seemed invincible. But then it faltered. The blast began to take their toll, and it staggered backward, confusion in its glowing eyes. Seizing the moment, the soldiers pushed forward. "For Earth! For the Council!" they shouted, a chorus of voices united in purpose. With one final push, the Allied forces surged together, a wave of strength and determination. The massive creature collapsed, its body dissolving into the air as if it had never existed. A cheer erupted from the troops, echoing across the battlefield. They had won! As the dust settled and silence fell over the battlefield, the soldiers looked around, disbelief in their eyes. They had faced an unimaginable enemy and emerged victorious. General Harris stood at the center of the troops, pride swelling in his heart. "We did it! Together we fought and won!" Emotions ran high as soldiers embraced each other. The fear and doubt that had once divided them were gone, replaced by a strong sense of unity. Sarah and Jorak shared a hug, laughing and celebrating their victory. "I knew we could do it!" Sarah exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. As the Allies celebrated, they also recognized the bonds they had formed during the battle. This fight had changed them forever. They were no longer just humans and aliens. They were friends, family, united in purpose. They had shared not only a victory, but also a journey that had strengthened their resolve and deepened their understanding of one another. The Galactic Council held a ceremony to honor the fallen and celebrate their victory. Each soldier was recognized for their bravery and teamwork. As they stood together, General Harris looked out at the crowd. "This battle has shown us the strength we have when we unite. Together we can face any challenge." The future seemed bright as they began to plan for what lay ahead. They would not only protect their worlds but also continue to grow stronger together. The bonds they had formed in battle would guide them as they faced new challenges side by side. And so, under the shining stars of the galaxy, a new alliance was born, one that promised hope, friendship, and the courage to stand against any threat. Together, they were ready for whatever the universe had in store.